It was the most amazing experience of my life, being able to serve our country. Just the honor of everything.
After 21 years of being in the Army, I retired as a Sergeant First Class. From my experience, the Army was very supportive of me and ended up staying for another 12, 13 years.
Probably the 10-year mark dawned on me that the Navy was my life.
How many women have been fortunate enough to say, I served my country?
When you think of a veteran, do you picture a woman? Did you know that women have served in many roles in the United States military for centuries?
Women in the American Revolution often followed their husbands into the Continental Army, taking on roles such as washing, cooking, and mending clothes. But it was not unusual for them to pick up their wounded husband's weapon and join the fight. The Civil War shows images of women that center on self-sacrificing nurses, romantic spies, or brave ladies maintaining the home front in the absence of their men. Both the Confederate and Union armies forbade the enlistment of women, so women soldiers assumed masculine names and disguised themselves as men. World War I brought in new roles for women. Women played vital roles, not just in the war, but also in the country's economy. They did manual labor, worked on farms, in factories, served in local governments, and provided stateside military services from transportation to aid. For the first time, women were allowed to join the military. Some worked on the home front while others traveled to Europe, and still others traveled to overseas units to assist soldiers. World War II women filled jobs previously held by men, working in industries that were building supplies necessary for the war effort.
It was in World War II when the women's service branches were established. First came the Army WACs, followed by the Navy WAVES, the Air Force WASPs, and the Coast Guard SPARs. They took office and clerical jobs in the armed forces in order to free men to fight. They were nurses and truck drivers, mechanics and radio operators. Some flew military aircraft across the country, or they test flew newly repaired planes, and even trained anti-aircraft artillery gunners by acting as flying targets. At the end of the war, women made up over 2% of the armed services. When you fast forward 28 years to 1976, women were admitted to all the service academies and were integrated into the military. Their separate branch was no longer necessary. In 1993, women would serve on combat ships and fly as fighter pilots. Today, women are eligible to compete for assignment in all military occupational specialties and positions and comprise nearly 11% of the total veteran population.
So, why is it that every day women veterans go overlooked and often less recognized, less valued than their male counterparts? Why is it that some people don't see us as veterans because we do not wear the ball cap or the t-shirt? Could it be lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, or just a culture lag?
The Tri-County Women Veterans Association, a group of over 200 women in Central Florida in the counties of Sumter, Lake, and Marion, want to increase the awareness and start the dialogue and open eyes to the myriad levels of expertise women veterans possess.
In 1977, I was very lucky to be assigned out of officer candidate school to a ship, and I served with another woman officer and 10 enlisted women aboard the Coast Guard cutter Gallatin. It's important to understand how women have contributed to the Coast Guard in terms of law enforcement, search and rescue.
I served in the United States Air Force as a non-commissioned officer sergeant. And I was the only female that's ever been in the military in my family, so it was quite an honor. I did computer operations attached to intel units. I think, though, the best part of my career in the Air Force was winning the John Levittow Award for leadership.
I did start out as a personnel specialist for a couple of years, and from then I went to recruiting school in Indiana, where I graduated, of course, and became an Army recruiter. I spent 12 years recruiting nurses and high school students. Most of the time in recruiting, you only spend 2 to 3 years at one station.
When I joined in 1971, women could not be pregnant and be in the Navy. You were discharged. In the military, it was very rare to have a senior enlisted female or officer. As a company commander, you had 80 women that you taught how to walk, how to talk, how to salute, how to dress. And 8 weeks later, they went out into the fleet. So by 75, 76, you had more women joining the military, all the branches, and making it a career.
When I was in the Army, my husband was also on active duty, and we had 3 children. It was very challenging in managing the family matters. I worked in a logistics operations office, and I became a planning officer. We did contingency planning for the return of forces to Europe during the Cold War for redeploying large numbers of military back to Europe should there ever be a World War III.
I'm Susan Ongst. I served in the United States Air Force as a communications electronics officer. I worked in COM, which is basically connecting people and equipment, and like radios, telephones, radar, satellites. I got into the combat comm arena because you not only had to be smart, but you had to be strong and combat ready.
Nothing that I did was a normal path for a woman officer or even a woman enlisted. The first job I had pretty much was I was in charge of the admin department at a data processing center in Pearl Harbor. I stayed 3 years on my first ship, which is the USS Puget Sound. It was a destroyer tender, so we did repair jobs all around the Med. Learned a lot from the chief, who was my leading chief. Basically, he said, if you stay down here and you'll learn what the guys are learning, but more importantly, you'll learn the leadership, because if you can lead in deck, you can lead anywhere.
I wish I had stayed in. I wish I'd retired in the Air Force.
When I moved here to Florida and I found out about the Tri-County Women Veterans, I was kind of excited to get back into, that part of me that I'm really proud of.
The unsung heroes of this whole odyssey that's been my career, of the women that went before me, the women that fought in the trenches of the Pentagon and helped write language that opened the gate and capability that women brought not only to the surface Navy, but to aviation and finally to the submarine community.
If you see a woman vet, just make sure you say thank you. And most of the time we have something on to prove, a shirt, a hat.
I wear a lot of baseball caps, and all my favorites have to have U.S. Air Force on them, of course. So I go out in public, and the first, right away, someone walks up to me and they say, "Where did your husband serve?" Okay.
People just have the vision of men being veterans, not women. And there are a lot of us here.
It's important to recognize all veterans and to understand that women play a major role in defending our country, our allies, the sacrifices.
So to the women veterans out there, I commend you, I thank you, I salute you for all that you have done and sacrificed for your country. Stand tall and proud and share your stories, for you have earned the right to be called a veteran.
So, when you think of a veteran, picture a woman too.
I am a veteran.
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 I am a veteran.